All right. So the last element, and probably an element that's fairly new to you about setting, is the cultural beliefs of the people that live there. The first element I want to pull out is that they are coal miners. Now, this doesn't necessarily fall under this list here. I should probably add another one about occupations of the area. So we know that they're coal mining people, and if you know anything about coal mining, it's very hard work that usually doesn't pay very well, and it's also very dangerous. And because of that, we can see that they've sort of maybe lost some hope, right? Broken nails, they have sunken faces. Some of them don't even try to scrub this off anymore. So it really shows that they're not necessarily worried about the status in society. They're probably not so worried about money here. Their values are very much probably survival, just getting into the day by day. Okay. Another thing here in terms of values is that going into the woods is illegal, and they can have very severe penalties. And you're more at your risk if you have weapons. All right. So, severest penalties sounds pretty bad. Probably prison, maybe even death. And if you know anything about this particular place, that could definitely be something that's happening. Um, Okay, so because of this, we know that they have some laws that are incredibly strict, and maybe some morals and ethics that are different than we would agree with. You know, in our country, we tend to try to cherish the outdoors, right? And we have the ability to carry weapons such as guns and bows and arrows. Definitely, there are some rules around that, but we kind of um, allow those freedoms to occur. And so the fact that this society doesn't is interesting, right? How what they value here is interesting. All right. There are also times when we can learn a lot about this culture also by other things. So we know that she's in school, so they do still have school and at least at somewhat value education. She says that she's worried that someone might overhear some of the things she's saying about the Capitol. So we know that these people have very strict laws, or at least are very worried about getting in trouble with the law. We learned that Katniss trades on the black market for money. All right, so we know that maybe there's some moral or ethical things that are interesting to us, like, ooh, this is a young girl, teenage girl trading on the black market, doing something illegal, but she's doing it for money. So what makes her do something that a lot of us would say, most would say, is unethical or immoral? But it's because money is so scarce, they have to do something for it, right? And the last big thing we get a little bit of information about the Hunger Games. We learn about the reaping, and we learn that there's going to be two families who are upset and sad about the news, and that there's a relief that the children will be spared another year. So, obviously, if you know anything about the Hunger Games, you know that there are two tributes from every district, and in most Hunger Games, only one person survives, and so this society, this culture, and maybe not these specific people, because obviously these people care about their family, but the bigger society at large doesn't seem to value children the way we hope they would, or maybe life in general, right? Which is a big deal, and it's a big topic in this book, and so in terms of the culture and the society, we can see a lot of things that we already kind of like, whoa, make us kind of question things. So the fact that they don't take children under the same regard as we do, or life in general. The fact that there's a lot of talk here about getting in trouble and punishment and breaking laws, and there's a lot of fear around the Capitol and things like that. Um, we learn a lot about the society. We learn a lot about the themes here, and we learn a lot about their beliefs and cultural hierarchy and things like that. All right, so there's a lot of keys to theme here in terms of violence, in terms of prioritizing or not prioritizing human life, especially children, um, and a lot of talk about control and fear and things like that. So there's some big thematic ideas bubbling up here. All right, so we looked at location, we looked at time, we looked at cultural beliefs, we looked at kind of the three big elements of setting, and why they could be important and what they reveal about the text. And now, hopefully, you can apply that to whatever you are reading, and that helps you kind of unlock a lot more things than you would have if you wouldn't have been thinking about these three things as you were reading.